What is up, everyone? Wait a moment. Ha! I know my stuff. What is up, everyone? I hope we are all hyped. Tomorrow is the NFL draft. So, and I'm already losing my voice. That's a great start. So, let's mock the draft. So, I will be using the mock draft machine by the Draft Network. And hold on, I have to sort a bit of stuff on my screens. Okay. We will be using the mock draft machine by the Draft Network because over the years I start to like it, although they relaunched it this year and I'm still thinking about if I like it. It's all right. It's not bad. Yeah, and because drafting all 32 teams will take a long time, I guess I will just start right away. And let's go. So I will be doing it in the fast mode every time because I'm not planning on doing any trades because yeah, I'm just doing this. I should have put it to 7 rounds because I don't want to waste that much time. And as I said, this will be quite the long stream. I think at least it will be a long stream. So let's just start with the Cowboys, my favorite team, which means that I don't have to think a lot about what I will be doing here. Let's go. So obviously, a lot of people, at least a lot of Cowboys fans, would want me to draft Bijan Robinson here. I won't do that. I'm not that big of a fan of Robinson, and I'm not that big a fan of drafting running backs in the first round. I am, however, a fan of drafting maybe a cornerback, although who's available? I mean, I do like Cam Smith. He might be one. I also do like Rashee Rice, although I might hope that he's available at the end of round 2. Another option, the Cowboys could go to left guard with Osiris Torrance, and that's what I will be doing. So let's check. Of course, Rashee Rice is gone now, but Bijan Robinson is still there, and Jahmyr Gibbs is still there. But with Tony Pollard still in town, I mean, I do like Gibbs more than Robinson because in today's NFL he just fits the mold better of what's dangerous, of what's great for NFL offenses. But the Cowboys already have their Jahmyr Gibbs and Tony Pollard, although maybe for only one more year. But in the second round, Bijan Robinson is my pick. Now, I do like Luke Musgrave a lot. I do like Sidney Brown a lot. I still haven't drafted a cornerback, and Stephon Gilmore only has a 1-year deal. Do like Terrell Smith. Okay. But then again, stick to your board, draft best player available, and this is Luke Musgrave, tight end. To the Cowboys. Now we are in the 4th round. And let's see, what do we have? As I said, cornerback with Gilmore only on a 1-year deal. Now let's get my cornerback board up here. So, who do we like more? I mean, Corey Trice at the end of the 4th round might be a good pick. Do like him a bit better than Ja'Cory and Bennett, but really just a bit better. I also do like Riley Moss. But yeah, I feel like the Cowboys would go with the most prototypical cornerback for their defense, who would be Corey Trice here. Yeah, let's do it. Now, the 5th round. I haven't drafted a receiver yet. And I would like to. Let's see who we have. And yeah, Jonathan Mingo is just smiling at me, although let's have a look. I do think the Cowboys are interested also in drafting a quarterback to develop, and yeah. Let's take DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson here. Now, the 6th round. Let's just take the wide receiver here and let's just go with the height, wide, speed guy. In Bryce Ford Wheaton in the 6th round, I'd say that's great value. Now the 7th round. Let's see. Yeah, let's just go with Hunter Lipke, the fullback, the do-it-all back from North Dakota State. So, these are my picks for the Dallas Cowboys in this year's mock draft. New starting left guard for their offensive line, Bijan Robinson. New running back, new tight end, Luke Musgrave, Corey Trice, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Bryce Ford Wheaton, and Hunter Lipke. Now that loading takes a lot of time. Don't need to take another look at that and start with the very next one. I will just continue through the NFC East. With the New York Football Giants. Now they could take Bijan Robinson. No, obviously not with Saquon Barkley. They might have a look at Darnell Wright. Well, I have to. Did they do anything great at? Obviously not. I forgot about Evan Neal last year. Wide receiver are obviously a need for them. Although I would not take Zay Flowers here. Who do they have? They signed Paris Campbell. They kind of need the bigger body receiver. Wanda Robinson, smaller. Paris Campbell, speedster. So Quentin Johnston it is. In the 1st round for the Giants. Now, Darnell Wright is still on the board, but they still don't need him. Also not those. Also not Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, Saquon Barkley only has gotten the franchise tender. But then there's also Cody Mock, who I would like in the middle of their offensive line. Yeah, let's go with Cody Mock. Upgrade the offense. for Daniel Jones and for Saquon Barkley, the protection. Now, safety, I believe they could also use. I mean, Xavier McKinney is a good safety, but the other position. So yeah, let's go with Anthony Johnson. Now, cornerback is laughing a bit at me. I mean, I do love Eli Riggs. Not his athleticism, but his play on the field. So let's go with him here in the 4th round. Now, who do we have in the 5th round? Double at cornerback. I mean, Jacorian Bennett in the 5th round, I believe would be great value. And I mean, if I look at that, Mani Oruwari had a few nice years in Detroit, or at least one nice year in Detroit. He might rekindle that. Decisions are at. Yeah, let's just add Andre Alcivas to their receiver room. He's still raw, but great height, weight, speed guy also. Yeah, let's just take Bennett now. Okay, who do we have here now? Interesting. What could we do with the Giants? Maybe a linebacker. I mean, I do like Charlie Thomas, linebacker safety hybrid. Great player for today's NFL. And last but not least, Moro Jomo in the 7th round in my mind would be a steal. He's a bit of a tweener, tackle and hybrid, but would give them flexibility in their defensive line and a really talented player. So let's give him here, and the Giants have at least one more pick. And do like Hunter Lipke, but I don't think, I mean, with the Cowboys, at least in my mind, it would make a bit of sense because Mike McCarthy in Green Bay for a lot of the years there played with a fullback, and Lipke can also be a feature back in the offense. Well, not the featured back, but can also carry the ball himself and be used as a pass catcher. So I like him for the Cowboys late in the draft. I don't think that he would be such a great pick for the Giants, but I will go here with Brandon Cox. In the 7th round, he is extremely talented. Just based off his tape, I gave him a 2nd round grade, but very many character flags, and the Giants have another 7th round pick apparently. And what can we do here? I don't want to add another. Let's just go with Deuce Vaughn. Super undersized small running back from Kansas State, but fun to watch on tape. And let's see what he can do for the Giants. So Giants apparently have a lot of picks in this draft. I started with Quentin Johnston for their receiving core, Cody Mauk for better protection and run blocking, Tony Johnson, Eli Riggs, and so on. And as I said, Moro Ojomo, I wouldn't categorize him as an edge rusher, more as a somewhat 5 technique in this draft. So these are the Giants done. And we go on to the Philadelphia Eagles. With the 10th overall pick, I mean, I would have said they could need a cornerback with the Spoon and Gonzalez here. But they did re-sign, or they brought back Darius Slay and James Bradbury. So cornerback is not that immediate need. I mean, they could go running back. They could go running back. They could. I mean, the question that I'm asking myself, obviously as a Cowboys fan, is which player would I hate the most for the Eagles here? And Nolan Smith is very, very high on that list. I do like him very much, and their edge room has thinned a bit, although they still have Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, and Derek Barnett, although they do like to have a very deep edge room. So the more I talk about it, the more I'm thinking Nolan Smith. Although, I mean, the Eagles do play a more classical four-man front. I don't know how well he would fit there. So let's just do the boring thing and draft Bijan Robinson here to pair with the Jalen Hurts in the backfield to give their run game a boost. Now, with the second pick, we have a lot of offensive tackles, a lot of cornerbacks, maybe another tight end. Don't think tight end. I mean, obviously they could play more two tight end sets, although I don't think so. They do still have an all-right receiver room with AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, and anyone else behind them. They will be doing fine. I mean, the offensive line does kind of look fine still. I mean, Cam Jurgens takes over at right guard. They drafted him in the second round. Shouldn't be really a need for them now. Yeah, I mean, cornerback really, in my mind, makes the most sense just because thinking about the future, and it's just a position of value. So I do have Porter higher on my board, but I think Deonte Banks makes more sense for them scheme-wise. I might be very wrong, but let's go with Deonte Banks here. Second round, I do think the Eagles need linebackers or could use another linebacker. I mean, they signed Nicholas Morrow. They still have Nakobe Dean. Or they could take Antonio Johnson to replace CJ Gardner-Johnson. Yeah, let's go with that route. I will try not to take always the same players here, I promise. But there are players that I do like. And yeah, let's go with linebacker now. Trenton Simpson here in the end of the third round is just too good value. Now we are all of a sudden in the 7th round, and let's see. I like Tyler Scott, so let's just take him here, give more depth to the receiver room, and I do think he's much more talented than the 7th round. And I mean, Moro Joe was still smiling at me, but as I said, I will try to take a few different players from here and there. So Carl Brooks as an edge rusher. I mean, he's an interior defensive lineman. And yeah, let's go with Carl Brooks here from Bowling Green. 3 technique for their defensive line. Also to get a bit more depth there. No thanks, I don't want to save it. This is my mock draft for the Eagles. Bijan Robinson in round 1, Deontay Banks, Antonio Johnson as their new safety, Trenton Simpson for their linebacking core, Tyler Scott and Carl Brooks as depth picks in the 7th round. I'm wondering if it's faster to just click back here instead of clicking to the results and then to the next. Now, the Washington Commanders are on my clock now. And no one wants to take Bijan Robinson in the first round in this mock draft machine, apparently. So, Washington, do they need an offensive tackle? I mean, they have Brian Robinson, Bijan Robinson in addition to that. Might be nice, but no. I won't be doing that, but I mean, they signed Andrew Wiley as the right tackle. Is there a quarterback? Wait, where are you there? I mean, Hendon Hooker, if they are a bit desperate at quarterback, but I guess they want to try and give Sam Howell a shot. What does their no receiver room? Looks okay. So yeah, if they want to give Sam Howell a decent shot at quarterback, I'd give them just another offensive tackle. They might not need him, but it helps. And now there are a lot of receivers that would also help a young quarterback play, but yeah, Terry McLaurin, John Dodson, Curtis Samuel. Just really doesn't make sense to draft a receiver this high who wouldn't see the field unless there's an injury. And obviously you are always hoping that this is not the case. Tight end, Luke Musgrave is there, but with Logan Thomas in the fold also doesn't make that much sense. Jamin Davis, as far as I can tell, has improved last year. So, and interior defensive line, especially with Daron Payne coming back with Muzzy Smith, doesn't make much sense. Comes once again Antonio Johnson. I mean, cornerback would make sense. What do we have here available? Yeah, I do like Garrett Williams, so let's take Garrett Williams here. Now in the 3rd round. Okay. Few nice options. Okay. I mean, I don't think quarterback, especially at this point, makes much sense. Just at this point, you can just give Sam Howell a shot. You also have Jacoby Brissett as a competent backup who could take over if things start to crash and burn. So I just like Henry Toto. Let's take him here in the 3rd round. No. Could think about depth for the receiver room. Another linebacker with Noah Sewell wouldn't make sense with the pick of Toto. What does the safety board say? I mean, yeah, let's take Jatavius Martin here. Do like him in the 4th round. Yeah, Devin A. Chain. In the 5th round, I mean, he's not a feature pack, but he's so much fun on the football field. Then let's improve the run defense a bit with Mike Morris on the edge. Not saying that Washington has a bad run defense, but Mike Morris is just really good run defender on the edge. Charlie Jones, as I said, depth on the receiving core a few picks ago when I didn't pick a receiver. And now. Now that's a good decision to make. I mean, the thing is, Jalen Jones tested horribly at the combine. He looked more athletic on the field, which I believe means he didn't prepare that well for the combine, which might mean character concerns. But in the 7th round, let's give it a shot. And yeah, this is my 7th round mock for the Washington Commanders. Broderick Jones in round 1, Garrett Williams, Henry Toto, Jatavius Martin, Devon A. Chain, Mike Morris, Charlie Jones, Jalen Jones. I wouldn't mind that if I were a fan of the Commanders. At least, I'm sorry if I completely misevaluate the needs of the teams, but just value-wise, I wouldn't mind that. So, finish with the NFC East. Let's continue with the NFC North. It should be here also in the mock draft machine. Yes, with the Bears, who traded out of the 1st overall pick, went down to the 9th pick. And I do believe that here at the 9th pick, although Jalen Carter is still here, my goodness. I do think offensive tackle makes so much sense for the Bears, especially if you want to build your offense around Justin Fields. But Jalen Carter is still here. And they do have a defensive-minded head coach, and they don't really have that great of a defensive line on the interior. So, the question here becomes, do we take the best player available, or do we take the player that helps our team the most or improves our team the most, which would be an offensive tackle? And yes, Paris Johnson is also on my board, the number 1 offensive tackle. So, let's do the... what is the smart thing? I believe the smart thing would be to help Justin Fields the most, to help him improve the most. And that's Paris Johnson. Although it hurts to not take best player available. Now, what does the interior offensive line? Yeah, let's although Jahmyr Gibbs, man. Yeah. Let's make the offense fun in Chicago, Jahmyr Gibbs. And I mean, I was thinking about John Michael Schmitz with the last pick, and now Cody Mock is still here. I mean, Justin Fields would be in heaven right now with Paris Johnson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Cody Mock. Wow. Now, maybe invest in the defense a bit. I mean, Drew Sanders and Trenton Simpsons are 2 players on my 2nd round board. Although Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, they signed in free agency. So, I do like BJ Ojulari as an edge rusher. So, let's take him here. And Rashee Rice is still there. I do have to take Rashee Rice. I have him in the 1st round on my board in my grades. Yeah. I mean, that would be such a great draft for Justin Fields. Yeah. Sorry. Nose itches. What's their cornerback room looking like? It looks like it wouldn't mind an addition in the 4th round. I do like Terrell Smith out of Minnesota here. Then, what could they also use? Yeah, Andre Carter is super raw, but such a high upside in the 5th round. In my mind, great pick. Still in the 5th round. Noah Sewell still here, although really with Edmonds and Edwards doesn't make much sense. I mean, I do very much like Popo, linebacker safety hybrid. Would be obviously a different linebacker compared to TJ Edwards or Tremaine Edmonds. Sorry. So yeah, let's take him. Give their defense, or at least the chance to have a different weapon for their defense that they can use in a different way. Then, once again, I do like Tyler Scott. Don't really know. I mean, they have him somewhere in the 4th to 5th round range. Why he's always available at the end of the draft in this mock machine. But I mean, with DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, Donald Mooney, Rashee Rice, who I also already drafted, Equinemius St. Brown, Willis Jones, they are, as I said, with Rashee Rice in my mind, they would have great depth at receiver. So, also already drafted 2 edge rushers. Let's take Daniel Scott, good safety from Cal, and another pick to burn. Tight end maybe. Oh, Josh Wiley. Why is he so low? Why is he so low? Josh Wiley. I love me some Josh Wiley. 284 on their board. Don't really know why. But yeah, as I said in the beginning, that would be a great draft for the Chicago Bears, at least for Justin Fields. Sorry, I completely blanked on this name right now. Paris Johnson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Cody Mauk. Much better protection, better run blocking, also important for Justin Fields. And Jahmyr Gibbs, a great weapon. Rashee Rice, another wide receiver for their room. Then some, BJ Ojolari, I feel like should be a starter in 1 or 2 years in the NFL. And then just some depth and upside with players like Terrell Smith, Andre Carter, Popo, Daniel Scott, and Josh Wiley. This is my 7-round mock draft for the Bears. On to the next team, the Detroit Lions. With the 6th overall pick, which they received in the Matt Stafford trade from the Rams. Now, they lost Jeffrey Okudah, or they traded away Jeffrey Okudah. So Christian Gonzalez would make a lot of sense. Jalen Carter would make a lot of sense. Anthony Richardson could make... Yeah. draft the raw quarterback. I mean, with Jalen Carter, there are questions that are not like... I mean, sometimes you read about a player's character and you're like, really? It doesn't seem that way. But then he tanked the combine, he tanked his pro day. He seems to be gaining weight basically by the minute. So there are reasonable concerns about Jalen Carter. So it's also reasonable that he might slide in the draft. But then, yeah, let's just take him at 18. My thought to Richardson, draft the raw quarterback. Jared Goff, I believe, does he have 2 more years or 1 more year? Let's pause real quick. I want to look that up. Spot rec here. No, I don't want that. So Jared Goff, yeah, two more years, but next year they can get out of the deal quite easily. So, yeah, Anthony Richardson can learn behind Jared Goff for 1 or 2 years and then take over. Great situation for him. Now, what else can we do? I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs obviously is smiling at me. I do think their receiver room is looking all right. I mean, you have the suspension for Jameson Williams, but then you have Amon-Ra Brown, Josh Reynolds, Marvin Jones. Especially if you want to build around a young quarterback. Basically can't have enough weapons all the time. So let's get Josh Downs in here. I don't really know if is edge rusher really in need. I mean, obviously if you can get one of the top edge rushers in the draft, you don't hesitate, but they do have Aiden Hutchinson from last year. They have Josh Pascal, who they also drafted last year. They have James Houston, who they also drafted last year, who had a surprisingly well rookie season. Julian Okwara is still there. They do have... I shouldn't close that. I might need that still. But then again, let's go with a linebacker to play behind them with Drew Sanders. Let's take a safety. Question is which one? Let's take, Sidney Brown. Now let's take a cornerback, but with I drafted Terrell Smith in another mock draft. So let's take Jacorian Bennett here just for a bit of variety. And I also do like Jacorian Bennett, especially in the 5th round. Now we are in the 6th round, and I do like Tyjae Spears, especially as a change of pace back. And I mean, we are still in the 6th round, but it's the last pick for the Lions here. So let's just go with a Dan Campbell pick, Hunter Lipke. Let's get some toughness in here. So Anthony Richardson, quarterback of the hopefully future for the Lions, who, I mean, they are in a situation where they are drafting in the top 10, although they almost made the playoffs because of the Stafford trade. So they might not have such a high pick in the next years. So finding an upgrade at quarterback over Jared Goff might not be in the cards for them in the near future. So grabbing Anthony Richardson and his sky-high upside might make some sense for the Lions. Then Jalen Carter, who slid obviously only because of his character concerns and not because of the randomizer. Josh Downs in the second round, Drew Sanders, Sidney Brown, Ja'Cory Bennett, Tyjae Spears, and Hunter Lipke for, back-to-back running backs might be a bit weird, but it's the 6th round. They might not even make the roster. So let's try what happens if I click. Yeah, that is quicker. Okay, good to know. Next up, Green Bay Packers, who just traded away Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, but don't need a new quarterback because they already have Jordan Love in place. But Christian Gonzalez is still here, although offensive linemen might be in the cards for the Packers. So yeah, Paris Johnson for them here. Now in the 2nd round, I do like me some Brian Branch, although they do already have a similar safety in Donald Savage, so I don't know how much sense that would make. Sorry. Tight end does make a lot of sense, especially with the young quarterback. Give him all the weapons that he can use. Jahmyr Gibbs does not make sense with Aaron Jones on the team. Pretty much the same player. So does make another receiver make sense? Another receiver does make very much sense. Josh Downs. Yeah. Once again, do the Aaron Rodgers farewell draft and draft all those players that he always wanted and never received. Now, let's have a look. How does their safety room look like? Their safety room does look like they could use a Christopher Smith. Yeah. And how does their linebacking core look like with 3 linebackers here at the top? Devondre Campbell. Yeah, nope. Devondre Campbell and Quay Walker are there, so they might pick a linebacker later, but not this early. So, who could they pick this early? Cornerback? Question mark. You can never have enough cornerbacks. Jerry Alexander, Eric Stokes, Rasul Douglas. I mean, it's the 4th round, and cornerback is a valuable position. And as I said, you can never have enough cornerbacks, although you can never have enough good offensive linemen. Yeah, especially for the Packers, you can. Once again, the Jordan Love needs resources. A pick, and Ja'Cory Bennett, 1 pick later, is still on the board. So let's take him. And as I said, let's have a look at the linebackers that are available. And I do like Sir Bossier Dennis. I do like Bumper Pool, although not his athleticism. Someone down here. I do like Shaka Hayward. Sorry. I believe cousin of Cam Hayward. Let's take him, although I also could have used one of those picks on Shaq Hayward, but I do have him higher on the board, so he was my pick there. Another pick for the wide receiver core. maybe? Question mark. Yeah, why not? Just throw a lot of darts at the dartboard until you have a superstar. And I do have another pick after this. Hunter Lipke once again wants to be taken here by me. I mean, why not a late round running back? Mohamed Ibrahim is a nice pick here. And I mean, but do I want one of these? One of these that are available here? I don't think so. I already have two. Oh, I have 2 more picks now. Okay. Also a lot of late picks for the Packers upcoming. Do they need a special teamer? I mean, that looks like they could use a kicker. And I would really love if they wrote kicker or punter here and not kicker/punter. I do believe that Christopher Dunn is a kicker, isn't he? Isn't he? Is a kicker, yes. So let's draft him. And with the last pick, haven't drafted an edge rusher yet. Let's go with the small school guy, Isaiah Land from Florida A&M. This is my pick for the Packers. Lots of help for Jordan Love early on. Paris Johnson, the offensive tackle, Dalton Kincaid, the tight end, Josh Downs, wide receiver. Then Christopher Smith, I do believe, has early starter potential at safety. And then basically a lot of depth and developmental guys. Emil Ikior, Ja'Cory Bennett, Shaq Hayward, Charlie Jones, Mohamed Ibrahim, Christopher Dunn, and Isaiah Land. Yes, I want to leave this side. And the last team from the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings, are now on the clock. So, what can we do for them here? Bijan Robinson, always available. But I do feel cornerback makes a lot of sense for them. And yeah, looking at the depth chart. And this time let's go with Joey Porter. And now, easy decision for me. Hendon Hooker still available in the late 3rd round. And with Kirk Cousins basically always staying the same, stagnating, and not becoming a really good quarterback. Let's just take him and try him, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Did they replace Eric Kendricks in some? No, they did not really. So let's take let's take Dan Handley here. Slightly bigger than Henry Toto. Might be a better fit in the defense. Now they also had to let go of, I can't remember the name of the wide receiver they had to let go of. I'm really sorry that I'm completely blanking here. But wide receiver, I mean, look at the depth chart. It's Justin Jefferson and not much else. And yeah, I'm sorry. I know KJ Osborne is a quite decent football player, but I I mean, it's also the 5th round here. So, Tank Dell. Yeah, Tank Dell. Also known as Nathaniel, his real name. But last pick for the Vikings here, who only have 5 picks, at least at the moment. Of course, there can always be trade backs. And let's just go with just checking that it wouldn't be a major reach drafting him here, and it is not. Let's go with Eku Leota, the edge rusher from Auburn, who doesn't have that great of an upside, but is just a decent rotational / depth player and probably a very good special teams player. So Joey Porter in the 1st round, a new cornerback for them. Hendon Hooker, probably, maybe the quarterback of their future. Dan Hanley to stock up the linebacking room. Nathaniel Dell for their receivers. And Eku Leota, depth on the edge. Next, we have... Oops. The NFC South, beginning with the Atlanta Falcons. And what can we do for them? The 8th overall pick. And Anthony Richardson is here and would make a lot of sense with Desmond Ridder basically being penciled in as the quarterback right now. Taylor Haneke behind that as insurance. I am tempted to take Richardson here. Really am tempted to take Richardson here. I'm also tempted to take Christian Gonzalez or Jalen Carter here. Quarterback. It's a quarterback's game. Now, Cam Smith. I mean, traded for Jeff Okudah. They have Mike Hughes. I mean, the cornerback room does look all right. What does the edge position tell us? Yeah. Let's go with someone who knows how to get to the quarterback, Felix Anudike-Uzomah. For the Falcons here, linebacker feels like a need for the... Yes, does feel like a need for the Panthers. So Trenton Simpson does make a lot of sense. Now, safety. They do sign Jesse Bates. Whoop. Who else do they have? Yeah, Richie Grant should be alright. What else might there be? Don't really know how Drew Delman and Matt Hennessy are doing for the Falcons. I mean, Jake Matthews is just solid, and Chris Lipson and Caleb McCurry just got their contracts extended. The receiver room feels a bit lacking right now. Do we have someone here? I mean, we do have someone. Yeah, let's just take the risk of Keyshawn Boutte, who always feels a bit slacking and underprepared at the combine. But in the 4th round should be a decent pickup. Speaking of decent pickup, maybe another running back. Not in the 4th round, I feel. Maybe a bit later. Let's just take cornerback depth now. With Razon Wright, the younger brother of Cowboys cornerback Nahshon Wright, who also played at Oregon State. Wright still a bit raw, but a high upside pick, which could make sense in the 4th round. Now let's go with Sean Tucker, speed guy, at running back as a backup to Algier. And we are already in the 7th round, and let's just take another receiver. And maybe another as I said, interior offensive line, a bit more of a need. Oh, Ricky Stromberg, very late on the board. I will gladly take him here. The Arkansas center, who could probably also play guard for them. This is my mock for the Falcons. Anthony Richardson in round 1. Felix Anudike-Uzomah in round 2. Trenton Simpson, Keishon Boutte, Razon Wright, Sean Tucker, Parker Washington, and Ricky Stromberg. Next up, we have the Panthers, who traded up to the 1st overall pick. Very much exciting. And yeah, I mean, the consensus is that they will take Bryce Young. I would not take I would not take Bryce Young. I would take CJ Stroud. The question is, do I do what I think they do, or do I do what I would do? Let's go with what I would do. CJ Stroud at quarterback now. Panthers there. Yeah, they signed Miles Sanders, so I don't think Bijan Robinson would make much sense. What else would make sense? I mean, Kalijah Kancey, interior pass rush. Also, they traded away their best receiver, although Adam Thielen, yes, he was the receiver that the Vikings released. They also signed DJ Chark. But is that enough, or would you want another one? And I do think they might want another one. But also Cyrus Torrance. Although I do think their offensive line is alright, which it looks like. Yeah, let's go with helping your young quarterback. Now, next up, their safety room looks alright. Cornerbacks do look somewhat alright. Linebacker, I really don't know how good Frankie Louvu is. I'm sorry, Frankie Louvu. I'm sorry, Panthers fans, but don't really know how alright he is. Let's take a linebacker here. It's the 3rd round. No one will care. I mean, in the 4th round, if Jordan Battle is here, I'm taking Jordan Battle, even if their safety room is looking decent. Now we could have fun with another one, but no, not with Chaba Hubbard. Already there. Wouldn't make much sense. Let's get some depth for the offensive line. I mean, I do like both of them. I do like Oluwatimi more, although he's just a center. On the other hand, Antonio Murphy is just a guard who can't, or I at least I don't know if he can play center. So let's just go with the player that's higher on my board. Then They really want me to take another safety here, but I won't do that. No. I do feel just depth on the edge, maybe. Depth on the edge. Who do we have available? Anyone that I have much higher than they have? Question mark. Yeah. I really do like Habakkuk Baldonado more than they do. So let's take him here, the Italian edge rusher from Pitt. So this is my mock draft for the Panthers. CJ Stroud with the first overall pick. Jordan Addison to give him another receiver. DeMarvin Overshown for the linebacking core. Jordan Battle. Olusegun Oluwatimi. And Habakkuk Baldonado. It's quite annoying that you always have to give your mock draft a name, but hey. And the Saints. Now on the clock, the Saints that always refuse to accept that they should just rebuild because their cap situation is always trash. Now, do they need another offensive tackle? I do think they could need another offensive tackle, or am I forgetting something? I'm forgetting Trevor Penning, who they drafted last year in the first round and who missed his entire rookie season injured. Then, what else? I mean, why did they sign Derek Carr? It just doesn't make sense. With him, they aren't, or they won't be competitive to a degree where they have the chance at a championship. So, yeah, why even try? I mean, it's nice that the NFL isn't a tanking league, but the Saints should just tank. Really, they should just tank. Should just accept defeat. And I mean, wide receiver might make sense. Sorry, little burp there. Brian Brzee would make sense, or would he? Yes. No. They signed Cullen Saunders. Nathan Shepard. Edge rusher might make sense. Time is running out. Let's just go with, I mean, Jordan Addison is higher here. I do like Quentin Johnson a bit more, and I do feel that Jordan Addison is too much of a Chris Olave type receiver, so I feel like Quentin Johnson would give their offense a bit more. Now, tight end. Juwan Johnson had a pretty nice season last year. Don't know how much sense that would make, so let's go interior defensive line. I do like Brian Brzee a bit more than Kalijah Kancey. What else could we do? Yeah. Let's go with Brian Brzee here. Now, Cody Mock is still sitting there. What's their linebacking core looking like? Demario Davis, Peter Warner. Maybe. Once again, Luke Musgrave. I like the most, but not that big of a need. So let's go with the edge. Isaiah Foskey. Here, the bigger need. What's their safety room looking like? Oh, Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May. Decent. So we are in the fourth round. Obviously now pick investment into depth are always possible, even though you have all positions filled with starters. But let's address linebacker first with Dane Henley here. Now, what else? I mean, quarterback doesn't really make sense with Derek Carr and Jameis Winston in town. So drafting a developmental quarterback wouldn't give this quarterback much development because with the practice restrictions in the NFL nowadays, third-string quarterbacks don't really get much development, or at least it's much harder to get development. So I feel like running back might be. Oh no, they signed Jamal Williams. Obviously, you still have Alvin Kamara. So maybe next round or the round after that. What could we do? Well, I always accidentally press my right mouse button. Cornerback? I mean, as I said, depth is now always possible. Let's just take Riley Moss here in the 5th round. Let's take the hometown player with Jay Ward from LSU, the safety in the 5th round. I feel is nice value. Now, what can we do here? Yeah, as I said, maybe depth signing for running back, or depth pick for running back. Golden Hurricanes. Not Tulsa, no. I mean, yeah. Let's give their running back room a bit of oomph with Chris Rodriguez Jr. And is it the last pick? Yes, it's the last pick for the Saints now. Third to last pick in the entire draft. What can we do here now? Let's just get another offensive lineman in here and see if we can develop him with John Ojukwu from Boise State. This is my mock draft for the Saints. Quentin Johnston, Brian Brzee, Isaiah Foskey, Dane Handley, Riley Moss, Jay Ward, Chris Rodriguez, and John Ojukwu. Yeah. On to the next team, and I forgot to go the fast way. And Buccaneers, who, yeah, I pretty much like the Saints, should have accepted to start a complete rebuild, but then didn't. Here we are. And signed Baker Mayfield to be the quarterback ahead of Kyle Trask. Yeah. Don't really, and Jalen Carter is here. Jalen Carter once again has dropped, and just to make sure, yes, they could use him next to Vita Vea. Yeah. Really the pick that makes the most sense. Now, they could use another offensive tackle. Is anyone here available with... Ooh, that's picked pretty much clean. I wouldn't draft any of those in the 2nd round, or would I? Am I forgetting anything? No. I mean, I do have Blake Freeland mid round 3, but yeah, that would be a bit too early for me now. So, yeah, I mean, Jalen Carter pretty much screwed that up, but then again, you get Jalen Carter in your defensive line. Could they use another tight end? They might. I don't know how convinced they are of Kate Otten. So, or do you go with another receiver? Let's go with the field stretcher in Jalen Hyatt, who I don't think I've drafted so far today. But I do think, yeah, in the late second round or later second round is good value. Now the big question is what happens with Devin White? Also the big question is how long will Lavonte David continue to play good football? Do you draft a linebacker in round 3? I don't know. But I do think those two would have great value here. So let's just pick one of them and let's go with Drew Sanders because I feel like Trenton Simpson I already did pick a few times. Now let's go back to the Terrell Smith, or don't we go back to the Terrell Smith? I mean, they did resign Jamal Dean. Or they did resign one of their big cornerbacks. I can't really remember if it was Dean or Davis this offseason. But we are in the 5th round. Let's just pick a cornerback here. And also the Buccaneers have a lot of late round picks, apparently. So let's just go a bit pretty much pick at random. Question is, who do I like more? DJ Johnson or Robert Beal? I do have seen both and I do like DJ Johnson really just slightly more, so let's pick him here. No. Do we think another running back might make sense? Let's have a look. Let's just take Dwayne McBride. Hey, I just want to say a Florida running back for the Florida team, but obviously University of Alabama, Birmingham is in Alabama, not in Florida. I mixed that up with, I don't really know, Central Florida, maybe. No, I already did pick a cornerback for depth, did pick an edge rusher for depth, did pick a running back for depth. I mean, does another, another receiver would make sense. And Jaden Reed would be basically another field stretcher to Jalen Hyatt. So let's go with Jonathan Mingo, who I quite like. I do like him in the 4th round. So in the 6th round would be really good value in my mind. Now, I really basically forgot to draft offensive line, and feels like in this draft you pretty much have to overdraft offensive linemen because they will be gone very quickly, or at least if the teams draft for need, they will be gone quite quickly, and there isn't much top end talent available. So I don't like Jack. At this point in the draft, I would like Jackson Kirkland, but I don't like him as an offensive tackle. Also Nick Broker as an offensive. No, he's a guard. He really isn't. So yeah, let's go with Kadeem Telford, also from UAB. Reunite him with his college running back, and let's just get another pick in for the interior offensive line, get some depth there. Once again, Ricky Stromer, I don't really know why he's so low, but I also don't want to draft him in every mock because he's available. So, let's go with Mike Nowitzki. from Kansas. So this is my mock draft for the Buccaneers, who get to pick up Jalen Carter very late, or I mean with the 19th pick, but for Jalen Carter it's pretty much late. Jalen Hyatt in round 2, Drew Sanders, Terrell Smith, DJ Johnson, Dwayne McBride, Jonathan Mingo, Kadeem Telford, and Mike Nowitzki for the Buccaneers. On to the next. I do feel that I'm going quicker than I anticipated through these, but that's a good thing. At least in my mind. I hoped that I wouldn't sit here for 5 hours. And right now, what are we? 1:20. So maybe 3 hours in total. Let's see. So now we are picking for the Cardinals, who hold the 3rd overall pick and don't need a quarterback because they have Kyler Murray. And as I said, I don't want to make trades, although there might be offers from the Raiders. Or, yeah, in this case, one offer from the Raiders. But as I said, I don't want to make trades. Especially if it's... I want to make the picks this year. And, yeah, I mean, Will Anderson is basically the highest rated player in my book, and edge rusher. I mean, I do like the pick of Michael Sanders and Cameron Thomas last year, but Will Anderson is just a different kind of animal. So let's take him here. Let's take Joey Porter for the cornerback room. And I mean, do we go all defense here? Messi Smith. Although Jahmyr Gibbs. Just imagining Jahmyr Gibbs with Kyler Murray. But they signed a defensive-minded head coach. So let's get him some defensive help. Although Kyler Murray needs also protection, and yeah, Luke Whippler from Ohio State, the center, might make a lot of sense. Linebacker, I feel like, doesn't make a lot of sense with Zaven Collins, Casey White, Isaiah Simmons, who's listed as nickelback for the Cardinals. But yeah, at this point in the draft, I wouldn't think so. Maybe safety, maybe receiver. Based on my evaluation, Michael Wilson and Dotavian Wicks shouldn't be this high on the board, so I wouldn't draft them here. But let me just have a check here. Yeah, let's go with Israel Abanikanda as a backup to James Conner. And I mean, Elijah Higgins in the 5th round is an alright pick. So let's take him. And yeah, as I said earlier, I'm not always trying to pick the highest rated player on my board, but give a bit of variety here just to go through some scenarios. And don't want to get another edge player here already. Or do I? Where do I have Dylan Horton? Do I even think that he's an edge guy, or do I have him on the interior? Where do oh yes, let's go Dylan Horton here. I pretty much forgot where I have him ranked, but in the 6th round that would be a very nice pickup. One more pick to make. Do they need a backup? I do feel no. They, for some reason, I thought that they lost Colt McCoy, but they did not. Basically, I feel like Stetson Bennett is somewhat a Colt McCoy quarterback, so I thought that could make sense. Although it could make sense, don't really know. Still do like Josh Wiley a lot. What does? No, Trey McBride and Zach Ertz. Also, yeah, 6th round. I mean, 6th round. Just take just take the good player. Oh, I never scrolled down far enough to see that you have this very nice overview of all the picks in the draft. All of you are in the simulator. So, but this is my mock for the Cardinals. Will Anderson with the 3rd overall pick, then Joey Porter. Pretty surprised that he's still available in the 2nd round. So obviously I would take him there. Mezai Smith in the 3rd round. The very athletic nose tackle Luke Whippler. Israel Abinakanda, Elijah Higgins, Dylan Horton, and Josh Wiley for the Cardinals. Next up, we have the Rams, who still don't have a 1st round pick for, I feel like, the 20th year in a row. But they have a quite early 2nd round pick, and Bijan Robinson is laughing at them, or at least smiling at them in a very flirting manner. But they do have Cam Akers, and although there were rumors that he wanted to be traded, he is still there. I feel like the Rams can just go best player available. And in this situation, and I mean, Sean McVay is still considered to be an offensive genius. So Jahmyr Gibbs, just pick the best offensive weapon for your team. Then, I mean, the offensive line was horrendous last year. Just get help there. And I do also like Joe Tippmann. So, yeah, early 3rd round. That would be great value in my mind. Now, what can we do here? Sam Laporta is needed? ? Tight end. Not needed that much. More offensive line help, maybe. Who do we have at offensive tackle available? I don't like Carter Warren that much. I really don't like Carter Warren that much. But Blake Freeland, as I said earlier, I do like in the 3rd round. So let's take him here. Now, let's take the smart wide receiver to fill up the receiver room. Let's... I wanted to say get depth for running back, but Jahmyr Gibbs I already took, so that's a no-no. I went all offense so far, so yeah. As with earlier mock drafts, I do like... Is there any cornerback that I like more who is later here on the board? Let me check my cornerback board. Who do I have higher? Oops. Okay, the others that I do like more are obviously all gone already. So, I mean, the thing is, Jacorian Bennett and Corey Trice are the next two cornerbacks on my board, and I do have them basically rated back to back. So, Who's the Rams defensive coordinator? Raheem Morris. What does he play? I actually don't really know that well. Let's go with Corey Trice. He probably likes big, long cornerbacks. Who doesn't? Once again, I'm sorry. I don't have that much free time to to look at every NFL team's scheme and prepare that well. Yeah. So if I make mistakes here and there, I'm sorry. Still, 5th round. Who is the best player available? Basically, let's just get Nick Herbig in here. He was an edge rusher at Wisconsin, but super undersized, so I do feel that he will have to play off-ball linebacker in the NFL, will have to make the transition. Let's see how it goes in the 5th round. I'm very comfortable taking him, or I would be if I had the choice. Please, NFL teams, hire me. No. Another wide receiver. Could they use another wide receiver? It couldn't hurt. Let's take Jaden Reed here in the 6th round. Would be nice value. I mean, it says I already drafted an edge rusher, but not really. Let's get some run defense in here with Mike Morris. Let's. I mean, if no one wants to take Ja'Cory Bennett, I will. And now we are in the 7th round, and haven't drafted a safety yet. Who do we have? Jair Brown. The interception machine from Penn State. Not as athletic as one would want, but great ball production at Penn State. And let's just get another offensive lineman, Nick Broker. Listed here as an offensive tackle, but as I said earlier, I see him as a guard. But yeah, in the 7th round, just take him. He's good enough to try him out. So, for the Rams, they do have a lot of picks, just not in the first round. Jahmyr Gibbs, Joe Tippmann, Blake Freeland, Andre. I really have to practice saying his name. Ayosivas, Corey Trice, Nick Herbig, Jaden Reed, Mike Morris, Ja'Cory Bennett, Jair Brown, and Nick Broker. So yeah, offense early. Basically, Sean McVay's expertise, getting better in the trenches in the offensive line, Joe Tippmann, Blake Freeland, and a very nice weapon with Jahmyr Gibbs. That's my 7th round mock draft for the Rams. And now let's continue with the 49ers, who also don't have a 1st round pick. Or a 2nd round pick, or a regular 3rd round pick. This pick 100 is a 3rd round pick, a compensatory pick that they received. They got 3 3rd round compensatory pick because they have a lot of minority coaches and executives that get hired away from them. But with that, their draft starts at the end of the 3rd round. And one name in particular who's sitting very high up there is pretty much laughing at me. When I say laughing at me, smiling at me, it's translational error. In German, you would say laughing at someone. In English, smiling at someone. So Sidney Brown, I like him very much. The only question is he too similar of a player type to Hufanga? that they wouldn't fit together that well on the field, and I do feel that that might be the case. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I feel like offensive tackle is really still somewhat of a need. Who do we have? Good question. I mean, Jordan McFadden would also be, of those names, my highest rated, but I only have him in the 4th round, so would be a bit of a reach here for me. But yeah, I mean, just take the quote-unquote need pick. Now let's just fuck it. Just fuck it. Take the best available player with Sidney Brown. I don't think they need a linebacker. Do they? No. They don't need a linebacker. At least not high. So I mean, Tyreek Stevenson is really good football player, at least in my opinion. Now we are all of a sudden in the 5th round, from the 3rd to the 5th. No 4th round pick for the Packers. And let's go with I do believe Ronnie Bell is a Yak guy, is he not? Let's take Ronnie Bell. No, still in the 5th round. I mean, also, the 49ers have so many picks. The only problem for them is the first one is pick 100. I mean, they do have Christian McCaffrey, but also Christian McCaffrey does need backups. But they have Elijah Mitchell, they have Tyrion Davis-Price. So, obviously, I do like Zach Evans in the 5th round a lot. I would have also liked him earlier, but doesn't really make sense. I don't think, yeah. Quarterback doesn't make sense. I do like Brandon Strange as a tight end. I like him more than the 5th round, so let's take him. Want to click here. So, oops. Bit of depth for the edge to get pressure on quarterbacks and defend the run. Who did they replace? Zane Gonzalez. Kicker, not that much of a need. Okay, no, they do already have great depth at wide receiver. Thought that if the receiver room is looking a bit empty, that might be a position they could still address. But I mean, Hunter Lipke is really screams like 49ers pick, screams like Kyle Shanahan player, but obviously they still have Kyle Juszczyk in this position. I don't think really that they need two of those. So, I mean, let's just get Jackson Kirtland in here to be a backup guard. I mean, what position don't I have drafted right now? I mean, let's just get a running back in here. Let's get Sir Roderick Thompson. Just because you somehow need to fill up the roster. I mean, IDL looks very, very empty. Although I do like Kobe Turner. I do like Kobe Turner. So let's take him here. I mean, I already spoke about Jalen Jones earlier. But let's have a look. Kai Garner. More of a safety cornerback hybrid. I mean, yeah, let's take him. And I mean, few good receivers left, but as I said earlier, don't really see the need. Stetson Bennett still available, but then again, they do have Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, and Sam Darnold, so that doesn't make sense unless they trade away one of them, which I don't think at this point in time they will do. What's the depth on the edge looking like? Decent, and I already drafted one. Should we get another cornerback in here? I really, at this point in time, I'm just waiting for someone to scream at me, take me, take me, take me. And don't really know. I don't really know. Being an NFL executive is hard. I already drafted a tight end. Don't know if a second one makes sense. And I'm running out of time. So, linebacker. Let's go with Yasir Abdullah. Played edge rusher at Louisville, but very much undersized. But great athleticism. So in the 7th round, I feel like is a pick that makes sense to draft him and see if you can develop him. This is my 7th round mock draft for the San Francisco 49ers, starting at the end of round 3 with the reach for need with Jordan McFadden, the offensive tackle from Clemson, then Sidney Brown, Tarek Stevenson, Ronnie Bell, Brenton Strange, Robert Beal Jr., Jackson Kirkland, Roderick Thompson, Kobe Turner, Mekhi Garner, and Yasir Abdullah. And now, to close out the NFC, we have the Seattle Seahawks, who can pick 5th overall. And do they take Terry Wilson? I feel like they might take Terry Wilson. I really do feel like they might take Tyree Wilson, although I mean, I don't think that they would draft a quarterback after just re-signing Geno Smith. Interior defensive line, they signed Draymond Jones. Cornerback really still looks like a neat position. Question is, let's not go. Let's go with Devon Witherspoon. who isn't my cornerback number 1, but as I said, a bit more variety in my mock drafts. And yeah, I mean, Jalen Carter is still here. It's just I don't want to always pick Jalen Carter in this range, but if he's there, I just have to take him. And I mean, Bijan Robinson is still there, but Kenneth Walker is also still here, and I don't think that they would draft running backs in the second round in back-to-back years. Also, now here's a bit of depth at the interior defensive line, but obviously when you draft Jalen Carter in the first round, you don't have the need there. Where do they have a need? I feel like no, tight end, not really. Wide receiver, more. So let's go with once again the fan favorite, and by fan favorite I mean my favorite, Rashee Rice. And no, no, I don't want to take Bijan Robinson for the Seahawks. So let's go with Tuli Polotu, the edge rusher from USC here, to give them a bit, or maybe help a bit with pressure off the edge. Trenton Simpson now is smiling at me, although they do re-sign, or signed again, Bobby Wagner. Still have Jordan Brooks there. Yeah. At least in the third round, doesn't make that much sense to draft another linebacker. Few good players here available. The safety room is good. Already added cornerback. Already added an edge rusher. Not in round 3. Not a backup quarterback, backup developmental quarterback in round 3 for the Seahawks. Good question. What do we do here? What do we do here? Steve Avila still available in round 3. That's a bit of a no-brainer for me to pick him there. Now we can have some fun, starting with Demarion Overshown, the linebacker from Texas. Basically now's the time of the draft where the needs somewhat go out the window. You can just try to pick obviously players that you don't think will be released right away, but that are somewhat the best players that are available to you. And let's go with Tank Dell here, another wide receiver. Let's go with Brandon Hill, very athletic safety from Pitt. No, now feels like a good time to add another running back, maybe Eric Ray or Kendry Miller. I do have him higher on the board, and I don't think that I have drafted him so far today. Now, is this the last pick? This is the last pick. Quarterback board completely drafted empty. don't really want any one of those. Do they need, by any chance, a specialist? No, they don't. I feel like I always want to draft Hunter Lipke in the 7th round. But then again, I don't think that the Eagles would use him very much. They also already have a fullback. But then again, get some competition into the building for your fullback. So, my mock draft for the Seahawks: Devon Witherspoon, Jane Carter, Rashee Rice, Tuli Pulotu, Steve Avila, Demarion Overshown, Nathaniel Dell, or Tank Dell, Brandon Hill, burping, Kendra Miller, and Hunter Lipke for the Seahawks. That's the NFC done. Thinking about taking a short pee break, but I think that can wait a bit longer. Let's continue with the AFC, starting in the AFC East with the Buffalo Bills. Now, I mean, Jackson Smith-Njigba obviously looks enticing here, and I don't think that I will look very much longer. Just take him here. Now, in the 2nd round, do they need a safety? I mean, Poyer and Hyde both over 30 years old, but they already signed Taylor Rapp. Tight end with Dawson Knox, don't think would make sense in the 2nd round. Cornerback question mark. I mean, Kyle Elam hasn't worked out so far as the Bills were hoping for, but also they lost Tremaine Edmonds at linebacker, although basically in every mock draft the linebackers are there in round 3, in round 4, and now obviously they had to be picked. Where did they go? Yeah, to the Dolphins, to the Seahawks, to the Steelers. Great fun. So the one team that could have needed a linebacker doesn't get one. Now, who do I take for the? I mean, let's take DJ Turner, still raw, but super great athleticism. Might be a very good player for a long time. Now let's address the linebacker need with Dane Handley. Now let's take a player that I haven't taken so far with Jamie Robinson. I do have him ranked in the 4th round, so I feel like would be a nice value here. Now they do sign. They did sign Damian Harris as their power back to James Cook, but how reliable do they think that he would be? Obviously, Devon Achane and Sean Tucker are no power backs, but maybe thinking about running back here. I mean, Kendra Miller would be the most power back here with the next picks, so he might make sense here. And on the other hand, I feel like offensive line might also. I mean, they did sign Connor McGovern in free agency, but I feel like, who do we have here? And who do we have here? Oh, yes. Yes or yes. I mean, I do have, once again, Oluwatimi rated higher, although he's a pure center. And Jared Patterson from Notre Dame has center guard flex. So let's go with him here. And also I have Patterson rated in the 4th round, so there in the 5th round would make a lot of sense, at least according to my board. Now I would like to pick a receiver, but I don't think with Jackson Smith and Jigba in the first round. How do their specialists look? They look fine enough. Where do I have Lonnie Phelps? I do have Lonnie Phelps in the 5th round, so in the 6th round would make some sense. I mean, he's also a edge off-ball linebacker hybrid, so might give their defense another dimension. So let's take him. And yeah, that's the Bills mock draft. Jackson Smith and Jigba in round 1. Great receiver for Josh Allen. GJ Turner, another cornerback, in round 2. Then Dayan Handley, Jamie Robinson, Jared Patterson, and Lonnie Phelps for the Buffalo Bills. On to the next team. Dolphins don't have a lot of draft picks, so that will be quick. Yeah, 4 picks in total. No first round picks because first up they traded one to the Broncos for Bradley Chubb last season, and the other they had to forfeit for tampering with Sean Payton and Tom Brady, whilst they were still under contract with the Patriots and Saints respectively. So their draft starts in round 2, and I mean, it would be quite ironic to draft Dalton Kincaid here. They let go of, I can't remember his name. They let go a tight end that they couldn't use because he wasn't a good enough blocker, and then replace him with another receiving tight end who isn't that good of a blocker. So, would it make sense for them to draft an offensive lineman? I feel like it would, but I mean, their offensive line looks solid. At least the starter is Terron Armstead, obviously is a franchise left tackle. Liam Eichenberg, Connor Williams, Robert Hunt, Austin Jackson are all solid or above, I would say. So investing an early pick into the offensive line wouldn't make that much sense. Receiver, I mean, they did sign Chosen Anderson, Braxton Berrios, still have Cedric Wilson from last year. Also, don't think makes sense in the 2nd round. How do their linebackers look? They do look quite well, with David Long coming in free agency, Jerome Baker being their starter for 5 years now, or 4 years. I don't know if he was a first-year starter. Yeah, but then I only had to scroll down a bit. Let's replace the tight end that couldn't block with a tight end that could block, that can block extremely well. Should be a good investment into their offense. How does their defensive line look? I mean, Raekwon Davis and Christian Wilkins look very fine. The edge rushers, they still have Emmanuel Ogbah, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, look decent, to say the least. Sidney Brown, once again, I do like him, but they do have good safeties already. Too bad. Running back, I do like Zach Charbonnet, but yeah. I mean, they basically re-signed their entire running back room from last year, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson. I don't know if they re-signed those two, but yeah, but none of them bring the quality that Zach Charbonnet brings, and he might be their long-term solution at running back. Now we are already in round number 6, and once again, I do like Dylan Horton, take him here. And in round 7, do they need a kicker or punter? I mean, they did sign Jake Bailey. Are they convinced that Jake Bailey is the answer? Probably yes. I don't think I've drafted Parker Washington yet. And in round 7, I feel like he would be a steal. So let's take him, although they don't have that big of a need at wide receiver, but he would fit or should fit the offense well as a catch and run guy. So this is my very short mock draft of for the Miami Dolphins: Darnell Washington, Zach Charbonnet, Dylan Horton, and Parker Washington. Continuing with the Patriots. Now the Patriots have a lot of needs, especially on the offensive line. It would make a lot of sense to draft an offensive lineman here. It also would make a lot of sense to draft Christian Gonzalez here as a cornerback, just because he is really good at playing cornerback. And on the other hand, I mean, Bijan Robinson is a really good running back. And on the other hand, the Patriots have 2,000 running backs already on their roster. So let's go with Peter Skoronski here, the most versatile offensive lineman in this draft. Now, Brian Brzee looks good to me. Question is, would he look good to the Patriots? And I might think so. But then again, another offensive lineman, I don't think. At least not now. Cornerback question mark. I mean, the Patriots do like to draft cornerbacks and not resign them when their rookie deals are up, so they always have to take another one. Now, as I said, basically in every mock draft in this machine, there's one of the top linebackers available in the 3rd round, only not when I need one. And I do think that Trenton Simpson, if he develops well, would be an upgrade for the Patriots. The other question is Mike Gesicki, the receiving tight end that the Dolphins didn't resign. Obviously he's there, so then again, Luke Musgrave doesn't make a lot of sense here. Then again, Patriots do like the defensive back, but no. Let's go with Trenton Simpson in round 3 here. Now, Colby Wooden, very versatile edge player, more of a 5 technique, but I do think would fit well what the Patriots do on their defensive line. Then I feel like Bill Belichick likes smart players, and Brandon Joseph played at Northwestern and Notre Dame, which qualifies him as a smart player. I mean, receiver help. Also always needed for the Patriots. This doesn't look that much inspiring. On the other hand, we are already in round 4, so what do we do? Who do we take? And I do feel like Jonathan Mingo. Of those names, has the highest potential of actually becoming a number one receiver in the NFL. Although there's a reason why he's available in round 4. And I also have him with a 4th round grade on my board. Still has a bit to go to get there, but nice potential here. I feel like doubling down on receiver might make some sense. Let's go with Tyler Scott here. The smaller, quicker, faster receiver to complement Jonathan Mingo and some of the other Patriots receivers. Now, what else can we do? Let's do a bit of trolling. I mean, they do have to pick a running back basically in every draft. It's basically an unwritten law. Let's go with Keaton Mitchell. Nice speedster at running back. So yeah, someone who brings really good speed to the running back position. Maybe something the Patriots could use. Also something the Patriots can use are cornerbacks from South Alabama, Darrell Luther Jr. Just another throw at the dartboard, as people like to say. 2 more picks for the Patriots to go to. They might need a punter. Don't know if Corliss Waitman is actually any good. So let's go with Jake Moody is a kicker. I have no idea. Jackpot Lesney. Oops. Is he a kicker or punter? He is a kicker. I thought so, but I wanted to make sure. Michael Turk is a punter. So, last pick, right. I feel like I always ignore the quarterbacks, especially in the late rounds. But then again, yeah, they do have Bailey Zappi. They do have Trace McSorley. And let's invest another pick in the offensive line, because it's late. And let's go with the German guy Kilian Zierer from Auburn. Tackle, might play guard in the NFL. So my mock draft for the Patriots in round 1: Peter Skoronski, then Cam Smith, Trenton Simpson, Colby Wooden, Brandon Joseph, Jonathan Mingo, Tyler Scott, Keaton Mitchell, Darrell Luther Jr., Michael Turk, and Kilian Zierer. Moving on. Jets, who just got their new starting quarterback in Aaron Rodgers and still have a first round pick, although it's 2 picks later now. And once again, Jalen Carter is here. Apparently, the mock draft machine from the Draft Network doesn't like to draft interior defensive linemen in the top 10. And I mean, him next to Quinn Williams would look quite nice. But then again, how much do the Jets trust in Mekhi Becton or in the development of Max Mitchell, 4th round pick last year? Let's get Broderick Jones in here to ensure that the protection is at least halfway decent. Could they use a tight end? They could use a receiving tight end. Let's get Aaron Rodgers as happy as he can be. I don't think a backup running back to Brees Hall makes sense with Michael Carter already on board. So, linebacker? Don't think so. At least I do believe that Quincy Williams has established himself as a halfway decent linebacker. CJ Mosley, I don't believe has started to deteriorate with age. So, safety? Maybe. Safety? Sign Chuck Clark? Maybe not. I mean, their receiving room looks decent enough. I mean, it looks quite good. Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, McCall Hartman, Corey Davis, Denzel Mims, although he continues to refuse to develop into an NFL player, at least a decent NFL player. Still there. So I feel like cornerback all the way up front. Yeah, let's take Terrell Smith. Let's take... I mean, no, let's get some depth at linebacker with Mohamed Diabite from Utah. Let's get some depth at edge rusher with someone we haven't had, I believe, Isaiah McGuire, who I do think at this spot would be decent value. And that is my mock draft for the Jets. Only 5 picks. Broderick Jones, Dalton Kincaid, Terrell Smith, Mohamed Diabite, and Isaiah McGuire. And that's the AFC East done. Let's continue with the AFC North and the Baltimore Ravens. And no, I have no idea what will happen with Lamar Jackson. And I don't even know if the Ravens know what will happen. And Anthony Richardson is still available. But I won't troll the Ravens fans and draft him here, although that would be quite the interesting story. Could they use Nolan Smith? I do believe they might, although I do still have Odafe Owe. David Ojabo is back from his injury. Tyus Bowser is obviously an established starter, so maybe not. Yeah. Let's make sure the receiving room gets strengthened with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Now, they lost Chuck Clark at safety. They still have Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams. Is that enough? I do think it might be enough. So who do we take? Who at whoop? In what direction can we go? Interior defensive line? Yeah. Let's take Keanu Benton. We haven't had him so far today, but I believe in the 3rd round he's great value. Do have him in the 2nd round. 4th round, Jordan Battle is still there. Take Jordan Battle. Another receiver? I mean, let's just throw some darts at the board. Puka Nacua from BYU. I do feel in the 5th round is good value. Now we are in the 6th round. And maybe a cornerback. Yeah, let's just have a look. Let's have a look and let's go with someone down here that I like a lot. No. Then let's just... I don't think I have to check, but I don't think I like Cameron Mitchell that much. No, I don't. Then let's go with the tried and true Jacorian Bennett, who I have in the 4th round. So in the 6th round, I say thank you and move on. Oh, sorry. My mock draft for the Baltimore Ravens: Jackson Smith and Jigba in round 1, Keanu Benton, Jordan Battle, Puka Nacua, and Jacorian Bennett. Now we can leave. And move on to the Cincinnati Bengals. We're still trying to get to the top and are on a good way there with Joe Burrow at quarterback. And they have the 29th pick. And I mean, the situation as follows: the Bengals signed Orlando Brown. Jonah Williams immediately wanted to get traded. Question mark a bit is what happens with Lyle Collins. They signed him last year and he's still there. He could still play right tackle. He also could still slide inside and play guard, which he has done for the Cowboys in the past. And then Darnell Wright is here. And I really don't know. I mean, but then again, the Bengals also need another tight end, although they did sign Irv Smith Jr., but correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that Irv Smith Jr. has proven that he's a viable NFL starter, or at least a high-end NFL starter. So let's go with the do-it-all number 1 tight end on my board, Michael Mayer. And do they need cornerback? I always assume the Bengals need cornerback help. How convinced are they that Cam Taylor-Britt can take over the starting spot opposite of Awuzie? I don't know. Could they use a big fat nose tackle? Could they use another edge rusher? Not that much. At least not that early in the draft. Linebacker, they should be set. They are set, yes. Safety. Safety. Let's get Anthony Johnson in here to play with Dexel, their 1st round pick last year. Now what? Nothing against Zach Harrison, KJ Henry, or Thomas Nkoum, but I do feel round 3 is a bit early for them. Let's see. Zach Harrison, I do have in the round 3-4 range, so would be okay, I guess, but not as high as 78, but maybe I'll take him now. Nkoum I have in the 5th round, and KJ Henry I also have in the 5th round. Not as convinced with those two, but as I said, Zach Harrison, just to get some variety in here, get him in here, more of a run-stopping edge player than a pass rusher. Now let's get a cornerback with upside in the 4th round. In the 5th round, how is their receiver depth looking? It's looking at least in a way that you could add an option to it. Then again, offensive line depth should never be. There's offensive tackle. Yeah, Nick Saldiveri, I feel like it's a very nice developmental offensive tackle prospect from Old Dominion, who I haven't spoken about today so far. And let's go with the height, weight, speed guy, Bryce Ford Wheaton. And with the last pick, I mean, we haven't had him in a long time. Let's go Ricky Stromberg, just because I know that he's here. Another depth pick for the offensive line. And that's my 7th round mock draft for the Cincinnati Bengals. In round 1, we have Michael Mayer, Antonio Johnson, Zach Harrison, Razon Wright, Nick Saldiveri, Bryce Ford Wheaton, and Ricky Stromberg. Up next, we have the Browns. Who do have their quarterback with Sean Watson and are still paying for their quarterback, which is one of the reasons that they don't have a 1st or 2nd round pick, or I believe he might be the reason that they don't have a 1st and 2nd round pick. I don't know if both of those picks are or were involved in the Sean Watson trade. Mezai Smith could fit in nicely into their defensive line. Obviously, big need for them. Another edge rusher opposite of Myles Garrett. Okoronkwo is someone who can fill that role, but maybe someone else can do it better. I feel like linebacker, Anthony Walker. Joke, obviously a nice player there. Safety. Yeah, they got Juan Thornhill, Grant Delpit. But then again, let's get Sidney Brown in here, another playmaker. Now we are in round 4 and just have to take Trenton Simpson now. Okay, so far we have completely ignored the edge board, so let's have a look. And Dylan Horton is basically always there. I have him early round 4, and I don't really know why. He is a great athlete, former safety actually, but also 275 pounds heavy. So still a bit raw, but super high upside. So yeah, let's just go with him here. Get that need taken care of. Now, what can we do here? I feel like receiver could be. Could it be upgraded? They do have their number 1 Amari Cooper. So much depth there. And also some really good players. Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Bell. Yeah. Wouldn't mind not drafting a wide receiver for them. Then again, they lost Kareem Hunt. So another backup. I should have checked, but yeah, it makes sense to get another backup, especially Devon A-Chain, who's great change of pace, speed back. Very good compliment to, I have to cheat, Nick Chubb, obviously. I'm not really that good at remembering names, I'm sorry. So, Noah's Will, For so long, he was rated extremely highly in this draft season, basically until late last year. I watched him. I was pretty much disappointed by that, by that which I saw there. But in the 5th round, already drafted a linebacker. the depth looking? I mean, let's just get him in here, see what he can do for our defense. Corner, I feel cornerback. Let's go with Mekhi Blackman here, because I don't think I've drafted him so far, and in round 6 I do think he would be a good pick. Let's look. Yeah, I would think that he's a good pick at this point in the draft. And I mean, so much good wide receivers still available here, but as I said, specialist. No. I mean, they might be another team that's willing to take the character risk that is Brandon Cox Jr. just to try him out and see what you can do with him. This is my mock draft for the Cleveland Browns. It starts in round 3 with Mezzie Smith. I always want to pronounce his name wrong. Sidney Brown, Trenton Simpson, Dylan Horton, Devon Achane, Noah Sewell, Mekhi Blackman, and Brandon Cox Jr. Moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who at least believe that they have found their quarterback of the future in Kenny Pickett, and so they won't draft Anthony Richardson here. They do have needs basically in both of their lines, so I don't want to think long and hard about it. Just draft Broderick Jones and be happy about it. Now, I was wondering what first pick in the second round. Yes, because they traded Chase Claypool to the Bears for the second round pick. Bijan Robinson, obviously not with Najee Harris on their team. Elijah Cansey, would he make sense? Interior rusher? Yeah, would make sense. From pit to pit, just like they did with Kenny Pickett last year. Elijah Cansey to the Steelers. I mean, they do have Pat Freiermuth. Would another tight end, can they? I mean, if they want to play more tough football, more big man football, another tight end that's good at blocking would make sense. So, but then also with Cody Mogg. Although they signed Seumalo from Philly. I mean, I might be completely wrong about this, and Steelers wouldn't think about drafting a tight end early in this draft, but play with more 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends. Is that 12? I do believe that's 12 and not 21. Yeah, I do think it's 12 personnel. More 2 tight end sets, I might also say. And Jamie Gibbs is... I want to draft Jamie Gibbs, but they have not... Man, he's too good to be here in round 3. Especially late in round 3. Man. Come on, mock draft machine. Don't diss Jamie Gibbs that much. So, I feel like inside linebacker might be a need. Let's just get Shaq Campbell from Iowa. Basically the same uniform. Iowa also playing in yellow and black as the Steelers do. Safety question mark. I mean, it's round 4. Let's get Sidney Brown in here. I feel like I draft Sidney Brown in every second mock draft. I hope that's not the case. And now there's a big jump from round 4 to round 7 for the Steelers. Just get another receiver, I feel like, for depth. They do have a lot of receivers here. Then again, I do like Tyler Scott. First, maybe get another cornerback. Let's go with Anthony Johnson now from Virginia. And now Tyler Scott is gone. Still do like Bryce Ford Wheaton. But then again, I mean, for variety's sakes, let's go with Jalen Cropper, who is actually Jalen Moreno Cropper from Fresno State. Also someone I do think in the 7th round would be great value. Someone who has good speed. And yes, that's my mock draft for the Steelers. We have Broderick Jones, Elijah Cansey, Michael Mayer, Jack Campbell, Sidney Brown, Anthony Johnson, and Jalen Moreno Cropper. And I feel like we're cruising through these. I was actually afraid that this would take forever, but thankfully it doesn't. Texans, who are super mad that they didn't get the first overall pick. And the big question, obviously, for the Texans is, do they take a quarterback first overall or don't they? Apparently in this mock, Bryce Young goes first overall to the Panthers. And once again, CJ Stroud is my first overall quarterback. And as the Texans, I mean, there is the thought that next year's quarterback class will be better than this year's with Caleb Williams and Drake May from North Carolina probably being available. Then again, you don't know what might happen between now and then, how the evaluation of those two players might change. And also, you don't know what pick you will have next year for the Texans. So now you have the chance to get a franchise quarterback, and I do think CJ Stroud has a relatively high chance to becoming a franchise quarterback. So just get him. Just get him now while you have the chance. Could they use another cornerback? They drafted Derek Stingley, who so far I believe has worked out nicely. But across from him, they could use someone. They could also use a wide receiver. And, I mean, just get both of the Ohio State guys in here. Bijan Robinson. They do have Dameon Pierce, who played really well as a rookie last year. And yeah, Brian Branch doesn't make much sense with James Petrie here. Basically the same player type. Could go with ballhawk Emmanuel Forbes. Cam Smith, who I have higher on my board. The other thing is the offensive line looks fine. You might upgrade center if there's a really good player available, which I don't think it is. No, pretty much everyone picked. I mean, Steve Avila, Joe Tipman can play center, but not that convinced of them. Right tackle might be upgraded, but once again, Titus Howard is fine. So I don't think offensive line is that much of a need to pair with your young quarterback. Obviously, Luke Musgrave at tight end. Although they do have Dalton Schultz. But did he only sign a 1-year contract or 2-year contract? Can't remember. But that position's also... Let's go with Brian Brzee. Does it make sense? Somewhat. Let's go with Brian Brzee. High upside interior defensive lineman. Does linebacker make sense? I feel like linebacker. Yeah, linebacker could make sense. Let's go with Drew Sanders. In this case, because he brings a bit more versatility than Trenton Simpson. Let's go with Kayup Kelly, cornerback from Stanford, to play opposite from Derek Stingley. Then, once again, those players I probably won't pick today. Not because I hate them, but because I don't like him as much as the Draft Network does. Roshan Johnson would be a nice backup to Dameon Pierce, and obviously you always have to be prepared for injury with running backs. I mean, they do have Devin Singletary as a backup, obviously signed this offseason. I didn't know that off the top of my head. So maybe running back a few picks later. Jamie Robinson? Question mark. Let me check real quick. Also more the Jalen Petrie type of safety. Also Alex Austin. I don't like Alex Austin that much. I have him in the 6th round. Let's go Tucker Kraft. Developmental tight end in round 4. Can't hurt to have behind Dalton Schultz. And I do feel another wide receiver also wouldn't hurt. Yeah. Let's not go with Tank Dell. Let's go with a more outside receiver type. I would go with Jonathan Mingo, but I feel like I have drafted him a few times already. So let's go with Charlie Jones, who can also fill that role. And yeah, time for the backup running back, Kendre Miller. I feel like would be a steal in round 6. Then. How do their specialists look? I mean, Kaimi Fairbairn has been here for so long. I don't think that they want to get rid of him anytime soon. I have no idea how long. Well, I mean, I can check how long Cameron Johnson has been here. 2 years now. So probably also not a position they would want to address. I mean, I feel like it's time to get some backup offensive linemen in here. Once again, I do like Nick Saldiveri. I like him earlier than round 6. I believe round 4. Late round 4. Yeah, late round 4. I have him on my board. What does where do we have it here? Interior offensive line board look like? I mean, I could just draft Ricky Stromberg again, but let's go with Anthony Bradford from LSU here. And how does the depth look at cornerback? Quite decent. So that maybe a 7th round pick here wouldn't make that much sense. Where does the depth not look as good? It doesn't look as good at linebacker. I have drafted Drew Sanders. But another one wouldn't hurt, I don't think, at least. Let's see. I feel like my linebacker grades... I do like me some Jeremy Banks from Tennessee. And wait, do I have another pick? Doesn't show up here, but it does show up here. So I have another pick apparently. And in this case, just let's go with Hunter Lipke, because I do like Hunter Lipke. I don't know how successful he will be in the NFL, but I do like Hunter Lipke a lot. So I have for the Texans CJ Stroud as their new franchise quarterback, Jackson Smith-Njigba as his old and new favorite target in the offense, Brian Brzee, Drew Sanders, Caillou Blue Kelly, Tucker Kraft, Charlie Jones, yeah. For a moment I thought I read something else. Kendre Miller, Nick Salivari, Anthony Bradford, Jeremy Banks, Hunter Lipke. The Texans have a ton of picks in this draft, including the second overall, so they should get to address a lot of their roster needs and improve their team through the draft. Next, we have the Colts, who have the 4th overall pick and also a quite big need at quarterback. And I'm guessing that, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are both gone in this draft. And the question is, the Colts, they have Gardner Minshew, Nick Foles, Sam Ellinger. You really don't want any of these quarterbacks starting for you the entire season, unless you are actually aiming to tank and draft first overall next year. But let's go with Anthony Richardson, the highest ceiling quarterback in this draft class. Now, Bijan Robinson for the Colts obviously doesn't make much sense because they have Jonathan Taylor already on their roster, but it's time for your fan favorite again. Rashee Rice, another receiver to throw to for their young quarterback. And does safety make sense? Can't really say if Rodney Thomas played well last year. We are in the 3rd round. Don't think tight end. Or does it? Jelani Woods. Is he already on his way out of Indianapolis? I don't think so. Although I really do like Luke Musgrave here in the 3rd round. Decisions. Could they need another edge rusher? Maybe. Let's get Isaiah Foskey in here. Don't think they need linebacker, do they? Or do they? Let's take the Marvin Overshown. Once again, we are in day 3 here, so just take players that you believe in. And Marvin Overshown is fine here. Still has a way to go, but great tools for a linebacker. I don't think I want to draft another quarterback for them. Backup for Jonathan Taylor with Zach Moss. Maybe next round. Cornerback. Let's get a cornerback in here. Also, I do like Terrell Smith. Have him in the 3rd round. Do they want another super raw tight end with Zach Kuntz? I don't know. So Johnny Woods last year obviously was a very raw tight end they drafted in the 3rd round. But then again, throw them at the wall until someone sticks. And let's just get Sean Tucker in here, get some speed into the backfield. I feel like it's time for another wide receiver. And I mean, Tyler Scott is here. Let's take Tyler Scott. And do they need a specialist? The big question always, but no, I don't think they need a specialist. At least not that they use a draft pick on one. Who do we have at interior defensive line? Let's get a big fat nose tackle in Broderick Martin from Western Kentucky. So, my 7th round mock draft for the Indianapolis Colts starts with Anthony Richardson, then Rashee Rice, Isaiah Foskey, Demarvin Overshown, Terrell Smith, Zach Kantz, Sean Tucker, Tyler Scott, and Broderick Martin. And we are getting closer and closer to the finish line now with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who not the first time, but feels kind of weird to speak about the Jaguars and them not having a need at quarterback and also not at running back with Travis Etienne, with Bijan Robinson sitting here. What about Darnell Wright? They did lose Juwan Taylor in free agency. They drafted Walker Little 2 years ago, basically to be ready to take over. I obviously don't know how ready he actually is. And then again, I do feel like they could use an interior rusher like Elijah Cansey. They could use a versatile defensive back like Brian Branch. And because I haven't taken Brian Branch so far, I will take him here. And I still have him with a 1st round grade on my board. Now, let's get offensive line. Although I do feel like tight end might have been... let's take Samuel Porter here. Now we are in the 4th round. And I really don't know what they want with all these linebackers. Last year they signed Ulokun, drafted Devin Lloyd, drafted Chad Nuna. I really would love to draft Henry To'oTo'o here, but doesn't really make that much sense. Wide receiver depth might make a bit more sense. Already have my tight end drafted. Cornerback depth. Oh, let's go with cornerback first. Terrell Smith. Once again, I do like Terrell Smith. Have him in the 3rd round. So here a nice value pickup. Another 4th round pick for the Jaguars. Who do they have behind? Travis Etienne. Yeah, let's get Zach Evans in here as a backup for Travis Etienne. Also in case something happens to him. And Mike Morris might be a nice pick up for depth on the edge, especially for the rotation on rundowns. Now get some speed into the receiving core. It's the 6th round. Those players might not even make the roster. Let's get some elements into our roster like speed and see if we can develop that trait somehow. Don't think fullback would fit into that offense, sadly, very sadly. So I haven't drafted an offensive tackle yet, so why not? Let's look at good question. I have to say I don't have watched that many offensive tackles. So let's just keep our German glasses on and take Kilian Zierer here. And maybe a developmental quarterback, but no, that is already completely picked thin. What position might we... Also, the Jaguars have a lot of draft picks. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A lot of draft picks for the Jaguars, who don't really have that many needs. Actually have quite the decent team. Maybe get an edge rusher with a bit more speed as a backup. And that would fit Lonnie Phelps. Brandon Cox once again. Yeah, the Jaguars historically like to draft players from Florida universities. So let's take the risk. Go with Brandon Cox here. So my mock draft for the Jaguars starts with Brian Branch, Cody Mauk, Sam Laporta, Terrell Smith, Zach Evans, Mike Morris, Jaden Reed, Kilian Zierer, and Brenton Cox Jr. to finish it off in the 7th round. Now the Titans, the last team in the AFC South. Of course, only in alphabetical order. The last. Now, yeah. Not much thinking about that pick. Here. Paris Johnson, the offensive tackle. They signed Andre Dillard in free agency to replace Taylor Lewan, but yeah, Paris Johnson. Just get him in here. I mean, I haven't drafted Lucas Van Ness so far in any mock draft, or Keon White for that matter, because for one, I don't like them as much as the consensus. On the other hand, they were always gone when I drafted or would have drafted them in the 2nd round, although I do feel the Jaguars could use someone for the edge. But then again, there are better options available to me. That would be BJ Ojolari, Adodike Uzoma, and I feel like I haven't drafted him in a while, or I only have drafted him once, so let's pick him here. How does linebacker look? It looks fairly decent, with Aziz Asharier in free agency, Monty Rice, the former Georgia linebacker. Safety? Question mark. Nope. Kevin Byard is a very good safety. Amani Hooker, also a long-time starter here. Cornerback also looks decent. Christian Fulton, Roger McCreary. And new arrival Sean Murphy-Bunting. Also Elijah Molden still in the fold. I mean, Cedric Tillman would be a bit early for me, but otherwise I would never get to draft him. So let's enter the receiver room with Cedric Tillman. Also, nice story from Tennessee to Tennessee. From the University of Tennessee to the Tennessee Titans. Now, lots of running backs. Could Derrick Henry use a backup? Especially, or maybe, I don't know if the Titans see it as well. They could use a bit more speed in their running back room, and Devon Achane as well as Sean Tucker would give them that. Let's go with Achane here. Now, next question, what to do here? Let's go with lots of receivers still available once again. Lots of edge players available. Do they need a specialist? Good old question. Maybe. I have no idea how those two performed last year. So let's not go that route. Let's look at the offensive line. I feel like that might be the best way to go, and just add TJ Bass to the interior depth. And let's just go with a cornerback here. I don't feel Corey Trice would fit their scheme. Too long, too tall, too stiff. Let's go with Cameron Brown from Ohio State. This is my mock draft for the Tennessee Titans. 7 rounds. Paris Johnson in the first round, then Felix Anudike-Uzomah, Cedric Tillman, Devon Achane, TJ Bass, and Cameron Brown for the Titans. And now we are in our final division. The AFC West, starting with the Denver Broncos, who are still trying to make the Russell Wilson trade work, hiring new head coach Sean Payton. Having spent a lot on in free agency, as you can see, with a new left guard, new right tackle, a lot of new backup players, Zach Allen for the defense, but some needs still are there, I feel like. But also they only pick at the beginning of round 3 with back-to-back picks. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is yeah. Gotta take him. He's just too good to not take him here. Linebacker. I feel like they let's get a linebacker in here. And Sanders or Simpson. Let's go with the more classical linebacker in Trenton Simpson. Sidney Brown? Question mark. Next to Justin Simmons. I feel like that makes sense. How does the depth on their receiving core look like? I mean, they have 3 good starters. They still have KJ Hamler in their back pocket. Signed Marquez Callaway. Maybe with their next pick. What's the backup core? Yeah, okay, they signed Jared Stidham. So no backup quarterback. Edge rusher, right? I mean, Randy Gregory basically missed almost the entire season injured. I do still like Nick Bonito. I liked him very much last year. Baron Browning is basically a surprise edge rusher. He played off-ball linebacker in college. But in round 5, maybe get Ikuliota in here. And the last pick in the 6th round. Do they need a specialist? Don't really know why Riley Dixon doesn't have a number listed here. Don't know who stole his number. But he's been there a while. So has Brandon McManus. So no, they don't need a specialist. But let's just get Riley Moss in here. Another cornerback can't hurt. And that's my mock draft for the Broncos. Starting with Jahmyr Gibbs, Not because they need a running back. They are pretty much set up at running back with Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine. But in round 3, he's just too good to not take him. Here, he would be a great weapon for their offense. Then Trenton Simpson. After that, the linebacker from Clemson. Then Sidney Brown, Equiliota, and Riley Moss to round out this also quite short draft haul. Obviously quite short because of the Russell Wilson trade. Now to the Chiefs. They just won the Super Bowl, so they are probably still quite happy. Although they still have a few needs. Don't think they will draft Bijan Robinson because they still have Isaiah Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Although Clyde Edwards-Helaire hasn't worked out as well as they probably hoped when they drafted him. Then who might they take? What do they have needs-wise? I feel like receiver. Let's get Quentin Johnson in here. Potential number 1 receiver. Just give me Jahmyr Gibbs in an offense with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid calling the plays. Yeah. Now, we don't need a center. Obviously, they have a really good one with Creed Humphrey. I feel like safety might be a position they look at. Or would they? I don't know. I have no clue. Cornerback might be a position they look at. Let's give them Eli Ricks. I like Eli Ricks. Although he isn't very fast, he can play very good football. Now, I'm I feel like I've said that many times. It's round 4. Jordan Battle is still here. Let's draft Jordan Battle. Now we are still in round 4, and I don't want to draft another safety, and I don't want to draft another running back, but I draft Andre Carter because I still am very much a fan of his upside, and in round 4 I feel like he's really good value. Now, what can we do now? I feel like the defensive line might need some help, and I do see a name here that I like in Nesta Jade Silvera, who's undersized but is a good penetrator. Then. Okay, then what position? What does the interior offensive line depth give us? Let's go with Braden Daniels of Utah to give some depth in the interior offensive line. Then let's have a look at the depth chart. Where do we see positions that we can add to and that we haven't added to yet? Might get another cornerback. And go with someone I like, hopefully. Obviously, I haven't seen every one of those. I feel like Blackman fits better what the Chiefs do on defense than Trice does, so let's pick him. And 2 more picks to go. I mean, maybe a power back. Can't hurt to have. And I want to draft Hunter Lipkeeman. I don't think he fits what they do on offense. They haven't drafted a tackle yet. No. Let's go with Kadeem Telford from UAB to round out this draft. Also, the Chiefs have a lot of draft picks this year. My 7-round mock draft for them starts with Quentin Johnston, Jahmyr Gibbs, Eli Ricks, Jordan Battle, Andre Carter, Nesta Jade Silvera, Braden Daniels, Mekhi Blackman, Mohamed Ibrahim, and Kadeem Telford. 3 more to go. No, 2 more to go. Raiders up next. And they could use a quarterback. And Anthony Richardson is sitting here. And Tyree Wilson is sitting here. And I'm taking Tyree Wilson. And hoping that Hendon Hooker is still available. Basically. Yeah. So, obviously, the Raiders signed Jimmy Garoppolo in free agency. And Hendon Hooker, coming back from injury, will probably need some time to develop, get his feet under him. On the other hand, Josh McDaniel, okay. Let's not go quarterback. Wow, surprise. Because I feel like Josh McDaniels might be the coach that's too invested in Jimmy G to be successful. So, might be nice back-to-back interior, back-to-back defensive line picks now with the interior, Kenzie Obrazi. Or offensive line. I mean, offensive line also needs help. Oh, wait. Why did I think that the Raiders had 2 first-round picks? I thought we were still in the first round. Yeah. They don't. Well, I just was wondering why there are so few offensive linemen left. Yeah. Receiving core? Yeah. Jacoby Myers in free agency. They also signed a tight end, right? Yeah. Austin Hooper, O.J. Howard. Okay, let's believe that the Raiders want to do everything for Jimmy Garoppolo to be successful, so Cody Mock. Or, well, everything. They drafted an edge rusher in the first round, but do a few things to ensure that Jimmy Garoppolo is successful. I mean, would it make sense with Austin Hooper and O.J. Howard to draft another tight end? I mean, the Patriots, and I believe it was at a time when Josh McDaniels was the offensive coordinator there, played with multiple tight ends a lot of the time. So let's get Samuel Porter in here. And now the question becomes, could they use probably not another safety, at least not one that needs to start right away. Linebacker, but I don't want Noah Sewell to be my starting linebacker. Who else is available? Oh yeah, let's go with Owen Papo, who I like a lot, is undersized but very athletic, very instinctive linebacker. Now, maybe now it's time for a developmental quarterback. Or maybe wait for the next pick. 9 picks later, probably. I don't want to draft Tanner McKee or Jaron Hall. I'm not a fan of both of them. So let's just go with the best player, or Let's go with some speed. Trey Palmer from Nebraska for the receiving core. I don't think I have said his name so far today. And when it comes to developmental quarterbacks, the two names that I prefer are Max Duggan and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. As I've already drafted Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Max Duggan is slightly higher on my draft board, I'm going with Duggan here to develop behind Jimmy Garoppolo. And I mean, cornerback can never hurt. Then I feel like they could use some better backup, or at least the chance of a better backup. Do we go with Zach Evans, or no, we go with Tyjae Spears, because he's also a more dynamic running back than Josh Jacobs. And basically everyone, I mean, I don't really know how dynamic Sincere McCormick is because I haven't watched him play football, or Austin Walter, or even Britton Brown. So let's get a dynamic running back here. Also the Raiders with lots of late round picks. So which position? Interior defensive line has not been addressed so far. Let's go with, they use someone big and fat? They might. So let's go with, I feel it's a bit early for Mr. Phil right here. I have to say, let's go with Kobe Turner first, because I do like him. And yeah, but then why not double dip? And obviously now he's gone. But then let's go with, I mean, Martin would be my pick then, but let's go with Jonah Tavai here for a bit of diversity. 2 more picks? Yes, 2 more picks to go. Haven't gone offensive tackle yet. That might be a good position to draft. Joey Fisher from Shepherd, a nice small schooler to develop. And now I'm basically looking at positions where the depth isn't that great, that you might add someone, and I feel it looks the thinnest at edge rusher. So I mean, DJ Johnson, he's there. Let's take him. So my mock draft for the Raiders has Tyree Wilson, Cody Mock, Sam Laporta, Owen Papo, Trey Palmer, Max Duggan, Terrell Smith, Tyjae Spears, Kobe Turner, Jonah Tavai, Joey Fisher, and DJ Johnson. Now we get to our last mock draft. Wait, have I changed it? I couldn't remember if I changed it to 7 rounds, so I went back. Chargers. Let's go. Now, I would have really loved to give them an offensive tackle, but they are all gone. They have all been drafted before to the Bears, Eagles, Titans, Patriots, and Jets. They have all taken offensive tackles. So, what do we do now? I mean, edge rusher, I wouldn't say in the first round with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa already on the team. Wide receiver with speed is another big need. Tight end is another big need, especially with Kyle Moore taking over the offense. And I know how he called offenses for the Cowboys. I don't really... Obviously, it's possible that he wants to implement a completely different offense with the Chargers. That basically he was calling more the offense that Mike McCarthy wanted than the offense that he called himself. But Michael Mayer would make a lot of sense. But then again, so would Donald Washington, and I love Donald Washington's upside. On the other hand, wide receivers. No, let's do something crazy here. Donald Washington to the Chargers in the first round. Now let's get some run defense in here. Or let's get some blocking in here. I feel like blocking would be preferable. Let's go Cody Mock. No. I mean, they did sign Eric Kendricks. So that might, yeah. Oh, obviously. Rashee Rice has to be the pick here. Now, what do we do now? I feel like safety is a need with the surprising retirement of, I forgot his name, who played free safety with Derwin James. The question is, who of those safeties do I want to play safety, especially? I mean, Brandon Hill has the athleticism, but I don't know if I would want him to play single high. Let's go to Tavis Martin to get this need taken care of. Next question is, what will happen with Austin Eckler and his trade request? So let's get, I mean, Devon A-Chain would be the obvious choice, although I would prefer Tyjae Spears here. Question is, can I risk not taking him now and wait another almost 50 picks? Will there be a run on running backs? And let's take Spears now. And good thing that I did. I mean, he might have been the last one available now, but we will never know. Maybe now is a good time to get an edge rusher in here. And the question is, which one would I prefer? Once again, Nick Herbig, I don't really see as an edge rusher, more as an... But then again, off-ball linebacker, also something the Chargers could need. And now, let's get Lonnie Phelps as a true edge rusher. Or is there someone down here that I might even prefer? Where do I have them ranked? Let me check my board. Let's go with... I mean, he doesn't have great length, but Tyrus Wheat. If Khalil Mack can play in in this offense, then so can Tyrus Wheat. This is my mock draft for the Chargers, starting with Donald Washington, Cody Mock, Rashee Rice, Jartavius Martin, Tyjae Spears, Nick Herbig, and Tyrus Wheat. This has been me mocking 7 rounds for all 32 teams. Big thanks to the Draft Network for offering the mock draft machine that I've been using for all these picks. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully see you tomorrow when we will be commenting the draft live in German. I'm sorry if you don't speak German, but this will be done in German. But hopefully, really need to speak more English, which I'm doing right now. So yeah, hopefully see you tomorrow.